going on everyone? This is Big Brace and welcome to a new automation project. Today we're going to create a Discord bot in two different languages, Node.js and Python. But we're going to spend less time with Node.js and the rest of the video is going to be with Python. Also, when we'll reach the Python part, I'll touch on different concepts like coroutines, async await syntax, event loops, callbacks, and a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to design a Discord bot in Python that will make you laugh by telling some Chuck Norris jokes. And we're going to fetch these jokes from Chuck Norris Jokes API. So you're going to learn a lot of new things in this tutorial. Just before we get started, I'd like to thank all of you guys who are supporting this channel. Thank you very much for the Facebook and Twitter messages, the YouTube comments, the likes, the subscriptions and everything. I love you all and I wouldn't make it without you. So what is Discord? Discord is an American instant messaging application mostly used by developers and gamer communities. And users communicate with voice or video calls, they can do text messaging, they share media and files in private chats or as part of communities called servers. So servers are very important and we will need to create a server in our account so our bot can join it and interact with users. And many Discord servers actually use bots and automate various tasks. So bots, for those who don't know, is a short for robots. And what they are is just programs that allow us to automate some tasks like messaging, playing music, maintaining the server, telling jokes like we're going to do today, and so on. And not only Discord provides us with many built-in bots, but it also allows us to build our own bots using the Discord API. So we're going to interact with the Discord API and we're going to create our own bot in Node.js and in Python. There are Discord libraries in Node.js, for example, like discord.js, and Python like discord.py, which is not here. Let me just show you quickly. Discord.py. This is just a library. These are some libraries or packages in JavaScript and Python that we can import in our code and we can make use of them. So we can interact with the Discord API back and forth. So some of the prerequisites of this tutorial is obviously you will need Node installed on your computer because we will need to install the discord.js package via npm. So npm stands for Node Package Manager, and for that we will need Node installed. So you can have here the installer for Microsoft Windows, for Mac OS or Linux, and you will follow normal steps. And to check if you have Node installed or not, go to your terminal and just type node -- version, and you have this, then you're good to go. Also Python. Alright, obviously you will also need Python installed and preferably Python 3.5 and higher, okay, because discord.py there are a lot of asynchronous code involved and Python 3.4 does not support that. So at least you will have Python 3.5, and I suggest you go ahead and download the latest version, which is Python 3.9. Alright, here. Go just to downloads and you will find directly download Python 3.9. Alright, first let's code our bot in Node.js. For JavaScript developers, Discord provides, as we said, this discord.js package, which can help them to develop a bot for their own server. Okay, so before we start to code, we will need a few things. So obviously you will need an account on Discord if you don't have one. Before that, even you can download for Windows, so it's an application that you can download it easily, or you can open Discord in your browser. Okay, so if you don't have an account, you will enter your username and you will go ahead to sign up. Okay, if you have an account already, let's go to login. Alright, perfect. Notice here a couple of things. The first thing that I have my server, Backbrace server, and when I'll click on that, on the right side you will find Backbrace, which is the owner of that server. Okay, so if you will click here, when you will hover over that crown, server owner. So do not confuse between both. This is a server where other users can join it. You'll have your chat with them, and this is you. This is your main account. You are the server owner. All right, so let's go ahead and add a server, create my own. I'll choose for me and my friends, and I have already Backblaze servers, so let's call this one YouTube server. Create, and let's actually add some flair to it. Let's go to not the privacy, to the server settings. All right. Okay, perfect. Save changes. Then we have our second server, our YouTube server. And here we are going to work with our bots. Okay, so with this out of the way, let's go ahead and create our first bot. In order to do that, we'll need to go to discord.com/developers/applications. And I will leave the link in the description below. All right. So the first thing that you want to do is, let me just maximize this, is to create a new application. And we're going to give a name to our application. And as we're going to work with Node.js or JavaScript, I will call it JS-bot. Create, that's fine. You can give it an image if you want, you can give it some description. You have here the client ID, the client secret, don't bother about all that. The next step that you'll need to take is you have to go to bot. You have to add bot. Yes, do it. Very good. And you'll find a message telling you a wild bot has appeared. Okay? Bring your app to life on Discord with a bot user. Be a part of chat in your user servers and interact with them directly. And this is our bot. Also, you'll find here a token, and this token is like your password. It's your secret key. It's very important that you don't share it with anyone, especially if you're going to put that code online on a cloud computing platform like Replit, for example. Anyone can go and mess up with your code and eventually with your server. If accidentally this token is shared with anyone, you can always regenerate it, so don't worry. Alright, you can go ahead and give your bot an image if you want, but we'll escape this. So the last step in order to finalize the creation of our bot, we'll need to go to OAuth 2. And this step is very important because it will allow the bot to understand what sorts of actions it needs to take. So scopes, of course, it's a bot, all right, and this link we will need it just in a few seconds. And here are the permissions that we'll need to authorize the bot to take. We can, as it will send messages to the user, we will need to give it the permission to send messages, manage messages, that's okay. All right, all of that. All right, all of that, that's fine. Okay, except for the TTS messages. And also we will give it a permission to view channels. Okay, and that's it. Now let's go ahead and copy this link and open a new tab. Paste the link. And here the bot is asking you for permission to access your server or to join your server. So as I showed you, we have only Backblaze server and YouTube server. We want our JS bot to join our YouTube server. We'll hit continue. That's okay. Authorize. I'm a human. And that's it. So let's go to the YouTube server, and you will find here a message below. JS bot just showed up, and you will find your bot offline on your right sidebar. Okay, so the JS bot is offline, and it will go online once we type our code and execute it. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate our first bot using Node.js. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we'll need to install the discord.js package for Node.js for JavaScript. So let's go ahead and open our terminal or command prompt. And actually I want to go to desktop first. Then I want to create a directory. I will call it Discord bots. I want to change directory to that, Discord bots. And I will create another folder. I will create basically two folders, one for Node.js, another one for Python. So the first one I'll call it Discord-JS, and we'll worry about Python's folder later. Okay, So let's go to discord-js. Okay, cool. And now we want to install the discord.js. Okay, npm install discord.js. So npm discord.js. And the cool thing about npm in contrast to pip is that npm installs everything. What did I do? Oh, I apologize for that. Okay, .js, sorry, my bad. The cool thing about npm in contrast to pip is that npm installs everything locally, okay, not globally like pip. So you have all the packages and dependencies installed inside your project folder. Python or pip installs everything globally. That's why you will need to create virtual environments in Python. Okay, so let's clear the terminal. And let's actually open that with Visual Studio Code. So I will type code space dot enter. And that should open Visual Studio Code automatically. Okay, good. And you see here that everything is installed locally. All the packages, package log.json. Okay, async kit, combine stream, delayed stream, the discord.js package itself. Okay, let's go ahead and create run.js. Before I get started, I would like to say that discord.py and .js both, they actually revolve around the concept of events. So a message can be event, okay, and in general an event is something you listen to and then respond to, like a message. So when we will type a message, this is an event, and the bot will respond to this message by sending back a message, okay, and we will program the bot so which reply should be sent to which messages. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. The first thing that I want to do is I want to import the discord.js. So I will create a variable, I will call it discord. Okay, this is very similar to import in Python. Next, I want to create a client object by instantiating the class itself. So I will call it my client, and this will be assigned to new, the discord module dot client class. Okay, so here I'm creating client object, and client here is the constructor and discord is the module. So we said that discord evolves around the concept of events. So my client object dot on, and on here is an event listener. So on message, we want to check the content of the message. If it's hello, for example, we want to send back hello my friend, for instance. Okay, so the event here is a message. Okay, that's clear. And we want an argument, okay, to listen to, which will be the message. And what we want to return is a condition. So we want to check if the content of that message is equal to, and we will type anything. You can type anything actually, not necessarily hello. So if message.content triple equal sign, in here we can say hello, and be careful, hello with a small h, not capital. And you can make it capital if you want, but in our case I will just make it small. What I want to do, or what I want the bot to respond with, is message.channel.send, and I will respond by saying hello my friend. And basically that's it. We can actually duplicate this a couple of times, and we can change a little bit. So here we can say hi, here we can say howdy. Привет in Russian means hello or hi. We can answer back Привет мой друг, which means hello my friend. Okay, something like that you can do in French, in Arabic, in Polish, in any language you want. And this is our awesome bot basically. And the last thing we need to do is we'll need to log in. And we cannot log in without the token. You remember the token? And let's go ahead and copy the token. And we will pass it here. So we'll say my client, which is the client object, dot login. And in single quotes or double quotes, doesn't matter, you will paste your token. And this is basically it. The moment we run our code, we should see our bot activated or going online. So node run.js, and boom, did you see that? Our bot went from offline to online mode. Okay, let's maximize this and let's check it out. So let's say hello. We get hello my friend. Let's say hi. We get howdy. Let's say привет. It's not working because I think it was the P was capital. Привет, like that. And we get привет мой друг. Okay? And this is basically it. I just wanted to show you how you can program a bot simply in Node.js. Alright, this is the end of the first part. In the next part, we're going to create our bot using Python. So we're going to create our second bot using Python programming language. And this is the main page of discord.py package. And I will leave the link to all these packages for Python and JavaScript and all other links. You will find them in the description below. So discord.py is a modern, easy to use, feature-rich and async-ready API wrapper for Discord, and we will need to install this package, but we will come to that later. So as we said, an event is something you listen to and then respond to. And we saw in the JavaScript example, then when we type a message, we get a response from the bot. And we will talk later about event loops, callbacks and async await keywords, because you will find here that it has as a feature modern Pythonic API using async await syntax. And by the way, I have a quick video about async IO or asynchronous IO built-in Python module, and you will find a card appearing now if you would like to check that out. But what I want you to know is discord.py is an asynchronous library, and it supports the async await syntax, which handles callbacks. And callbacks are functions which are called when something else happens basically. And in general in programming, there are two types of threading, single threading and multi-threading. And you can think about threading or threads as a process. So there are programming languages that are single threaded or can do only one process at a time, and other programming languages that can do multiple processes or multiple threads at a time. So languages such as Java and C# are multi-threading, for example, which means that they can perform multiple tasks without blocking or without running slow. On the other hand, JavaScript and Python are single-threaded languages, which means they can only run one task at a time. So JavaScript and Python rely on asynchronous programming using callbacks and a single event queue. What that simply means is that Python and also JavaScript can only do one thing at a time, as we said. And maybe you have heard of the stack or the stack queue, and different tasks can be accumulated in that queue waiting for a response for each task. So we're talking about I/O tasks, input/output, such as reading in the file system, for example, or sending HTTP requests to a website, for instance. And let me actually show you what I mean just to have an idea what I'm talking about. So you see here, take a look to the requests, okay? And the requests, you can think of it as your Python code. So you're typing Python code to fetch some JSON data from an external API. The requests will go one by one. They don't go together. So the first request will go to the event loop, which you can think of as your operating system. So your operating system takes the first request, which is fetching this JSON data from the API, then fetches that JSON data. So as you might know, there is this built-in module in Python called async IO. So let's go to Python. So let's import async IO. First of all, if you will create a function, a simple function, which will just print hello, then it prints world, okay, on two lines like that. And when you will call this function, it will print hello world together. Okay, there is no delay between them. There is no this scenario of, hey, you print hello, just I'm going to wait for a few seconds, then I'm going to print world. And this is called a subroutine, just a simple function. But what we have in our async await syntax here, this is working with concurrent code or concurrency or coroutines. And what that simply means is that you will use the async keyword, then you will define your function normally. Then you will print first the word hello. And here we want to await a little bit. It's not really clear because print is a very quick code. It's not a slow code. A slow code is like looping over numbers from 1 to 100 million. In this case, async await will be very obvious. So let's suppose that this is the function that will send an HTTP request to the server to get a JSON data and respond with a response with the JSON data. Usually this takes time, as well as something like fetching data from SQL database or going through a file system or anything. This usually takes time. So you will type simply await. This is a coroutine, not subroutine. As long as you have async keyword before the definition of your function, async is going to block anything else from happening until this print hello finishes. Okay, so we're going to await using async IO module dot, and we will give it, let's say, 3 seconds to sleep. And we're going to print world, and let me await again. And you can do anything else, by the way. So not only printing. This is just for simplicity. So let's say you are the best. If you will call the function like that, it will show you that this is a coroutine object and it's stored on this memory location. But in order to run this function, we will need to use async IO dot run, and we'll pass inside our main function and see hello, then 3 seconds, then world, then 4 seconds. Then you are the best. So if we'll get back to our event loop again, we'll find that we are writing a code in Python. We are sending a request, let's say an HTTP request to an external server, and this going to this event loop, this operating system, then executing the task. During this time, nothing else happens in your code. Everything is stopping unless you finish it. So when you finish it, when you have actually fetched, let's say, JSON data from an API, the event loop actually will trigger a callback. So your operating system will go to your Python code and will tell you, hey, you have sent a GET request to the server and it's done, and here's the information that you want. And once that's done, Python will say, okay, thank you, that's fine, and it will go to the second request and so on. Okay, so this is the whole story of coroutines and async await syntax in general. Alright, so I hope the idea is clear to you guys, because we're going to use all of that when we're going to code our bot. So let's go here. So see, our JavaScript bot is sleeping now, is offline, and we're going to create another bot. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and do that actually. So let's go to our developers portal, to general information. Let's go back to applications and let's create a new application. You see here we have our JavaScript bot. We're going to create another one, which we'll call it PyBot. So let's do it. PyBot. Oops. PyBot. All right. And we're going to take the exact same steps that we took when we created the JavaScript bot. So add a bot. Yes, do it. Okay, cool. So it has a different color, yellow. Okay, and we have our token, and we'll need to give it some permissions. So it's a bot. All right, good. And we want to copy that. Let's open a new tab. Okay, and we will allow the PyBot to join our YouTube server. Alright, perfect. So let's close that. We don't need that anymore. And boom, we have our second bot, JavaScript bot and Python bot together. Alright, cool. Let's go back to our code now and let's create, it's inside our Discord pie. So we have two folders, as we said, one for JavaScript and one for Python. So I will create, say, main.py. And we will need to install the package, by the way. So let's open the terminal. Alright. Python pip install discord.py. Pip install Alright, because I have it already installed, so requirement already satisfied, that's fine. Okay, but you will need to install that. Without it, you won't be able to create the bot. Because the first thing we need to do here is we'll need to import Discord module. And I'm going to create a class and I will call it my client. And as a parameter, I will use the Discord.clients. Okay, and this is the Discord module. All right, and you can see here that Discord API wrapper, a basic wrapper for the Discord API. Okay, and client is a class which represents the client connection that connects to the Discord API. So the client class is used to interact with the WebSocket and the Discord API. And here we're going to use the async code, okay? And we're going to create by that a coroutine. So we'll call that function onReady, which will be an event passing self as a parameter. And we want just to print, this is just for a simple connection. When we will connect, we want to print a message saying that we have connected. So let's say howdy, and let's go ahead here below and create our client object. So I'm going to use my client class in order to instantiate that class or create that client object. So client is equal to my client. And as we said, that my client class represents the client connection that connects to the Discord API, okay, which is very essential. And as in JavaScript, we said that we want to use the token, so client.run, and here we want to pass our token. So let's get back to our developer portal. I closed it. All right, let's go to PyBot and let's go to bot and let's copy the token. Let's get back to our code and paste that here. So now we have our client computer or client connection. We want to show in the print statement that the connection or the logged in as client. Okay, so how we do that? Well, it's very easy. We can say that logged in as and want client.user. Okay, and we will format this and we'll pass the client. All right, so this is the function to log in. So let me just add comment for you guys here. So this is coroutine to login. This should establish a connection between the Python code and the Discord API. Let's now create a coroutine to answer messages. So I'm going to use the async keyword again, and I'm going to create a function. We'll call it onMessage event, okay? And it takes self and it takes the context or the message itself. So in case of message sent by you or by any user, we want the bot to respond to that. This is the main idea. So we want to check if ctx.author is equal to client.user. We don't want to do anything. We want just to return. If the owner is the sender of this message, if the server owner, which is you, is the same as the author of this message, we'll just return nothing. Elif ctx.content.starts with, and here is the interesting part. We want to check if the message starts with hello. In that case, we want to await. You remember the async await diagram? So we're going to stop everything here from happening and we're going to wait to actually send the message to the channel, and we'll say howdy friend, and we can do it in other languages. So let's say 3 times, and here let's say salut in French, and let's make it small s, and here we can say salut mon ami, hello my friend in French, and also let's do it in Russian. So let's say привет, and here we'll say, we'll let the bot answer by saying привет мой друг. And I think that's enough. Let's make it just like that: English, Russian, and French. So this is basically the same thing as we did in JavaScript. The same logic, but different syntax, okay? So let's go ahead and run that. Alright, so let's put them next to each other. Alright, so take a look what will happen the moment we will run the code. Alright, perfect. So it went online, and we have here a message telling us howdy, logged in as PyBot number 6048. Look at that. It's pretty cool. And let's test it. So let's say hello. Let's make this bigger for you guys. Alright, hello, howdy. Let's say salut in French. Salut mon ami. Let's say привет. Привет мой друг. Okay, cool. And let's say thanks. Nothing happens. Let's say how are you? Nothing happens because we didn't program our bot to respond to these kind of messages. Alright, cool. Now let's go ahead and check out the Chuck Norris jokes API. And we're going to fetch some jokes from the Chuck Norris API and return them. So this is the GET request. This is what we're going to use in the code to send a GET request to the API and receive the joke in JSON format. So let's say, for instance, that we want the bot to respond if we will say make me laugh. So elif ctx, or we just could have copied it, that's okay. Alright, and when you will type make me laugh, I want the bot to say, would you like to hear a Chuck Norris joke? Again, with the await syntax, we are waiting until we receive an answer, okay? And here the bot will wait a response from your side. So let's go ahead and create that response. So res variable await, don't forget, because this actually telling Python I'm doing something, don't do anything else until I'm finished with this task, okay? So this is what wait is doing. Then I will take the client and I will access a method called wait_for, okay? And wait_for actually takes an event and a check argument. That's a lambda function which takes the arguments of the event, and in this case message. Let me show you what I mean. So the first argument, as we said, is an event, and the event is message. All right, you should know this by now. And we want a check, and check here is a lambda function, and I have a video on lambda functions. If you'd like to check that out, I will leave the link to that below. So type lambda, and lambda simply is an anonymous function which takes the arguments of the event, in this case message, okay? And then it will determine whether or not the new message comes from the same person. So let's take the context.author, which is you who will type yes, for example, because you won't say no, and we'll program the bot in case you will say no, but you will say yes in all cases, okay? So in case you will say yes, this lambda function will compare between the ctx.author, and we'll check if this ctx.author is equal to message.author. And I'm going to take that response dot content. So if this content response is equal to yes, but this is not quite right, because you might type yes like this or yes in capital letter. To fix this problem, we will add dot lower. And here we will say, let's just print a message for checking. We will say fetching a joke from Chuck Norris API, for example. And also let's program the bot to send you a message telling you something like, okay, working on it, or something like that. So await ctx.channel.send, and let's say, for example, cool, on it. But in case you said no, we'll let it say await ctx.channel.send. We'll let it say no problem. Alright, so let's go ahead and check our code. Notice that if we'll go to our Discord, you will find that the Pi bot is sleeping right now, but the moment we will run our file, it should go online. Oops, Discord Pi. Alright, and it's online. Let's now go ahead and say, let's test hi, nothing, hello, okay. Let's now type make me laugh. Alright, would you like to hear a Chuck Norris joke? If I will type yes, cool, on it. Perfect. And let's check here, fetching a joke from Chuck Norris API. Okay? And if I will say make me laugh, if I will say no, we'll say no problem. Alright, now let's go ahead and work on fetching the joke from the Chuck Norris Jokes API. So let me just add a comment here for you guys. So here should be code to fetch the jokes from Chuck Norris API. And this just was for testing, but we will delete that. We don't need that anymore. Or I will just keep it for you guys because I will leave this in the GitHub repository, so you can fork it or you can clone it and work on your own bot. In case that you said yes, we want to create a function and invoke it. And again, I'm going to use the async keyword to create a coroutine, and our coroutine function is going to be called getJoke or get_joke, takes self as main parameter. And here we want to send a GET request to the API, alright, and store what will come here in a variable, and we will use that variable later, okay? So you can see here usage, retrieve a random Chuck Norris joke in JSON format. For the GET request, we can copy this. I want to create a variable or declare a variable, and I will call it response, and I will take requests, but I will need to import requests, by the way. And also we will import JSON because the response will be in JSON format, and we will need to convert it to text later. So requests.get, and inside I want to pass that link. Then I want to declare another variable called joke, and this joke I want it to load whatever response I will receive .text. So whatever joke response will come from the Chuck Norris API, we want to access the text of that, we want to load it, and we want to store it in that joke variable. Let me actually show you what it looks like. If we will say yes, just I will print that joke. And let's invoke that function here. So get joke, pass self, alright, and don't forget the await. So await. So nothing will happen until we have our joke back. Okay, I'm repeating this over and over so the idea will be fixed in your head. Alright, the async await syntax. We are sending HTTP request and nothing happens until we receive an answer. So let's go ahead actually and try that out. Okay, connection is established. So make me laugh, and when we'll say yes, we get the joke from the API. So what we're interested in actually in that object or dictionary, we're interested in the value. So this is the actual joke. Chuck Norris can spell out my space using M&Ms and Skittles. All right. So this is one Chuck Norris joke. We want to return that in Discord. Okay. All right. So instead of print, I want to return joke and inside here the sub value component or item. And that's basically it. So here, instead of invoking the function directly, I will store it in a variable called the joke, and I will await the ctx channel.send, and I will send the joke. Okay, so let's give that a go. New terminal. Alright, howdy. Let's go to Discord and let's say hello, for example. Howdy friend. Let's say salut. Okay. And let's say make me laugh. Would you like to hear a Chuck Norris joke? Let's say yes with a capital Y. Chuck Norris wrote and owns copyrights of the song Happy Birthday. Alright, this is the end of the tutorial. We have created two bots, one using Node.js and one using Python. And certainly you can explore more and you can take advantage of the Discord API and create a lot of different bots that can do a lot of cool things. Alright, so thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I always love to interact with you guys. You actually created this channel, not me. Okay? Once again, thank you very much guys, and I will see you in the next videos. Take it easy.